that perfect storm you're talking about what it takes to get touring. You're saying it takes the song popping off and the booking person and the manager and the like. Tell me the stack of that again.
I'll tell you what we've been doing personally with all of our music. Our whole strategy is to blow up Spotify first. And I think we've talked about this quite a bit. You get a few songs to pop off on Spotify, it shows all the data, it shows the numbers, it shows interest in people, fans, and there's huge leverage there. So for example, like with Anthem Worship, we're eventually going to build our team up that wants to actually tour and travel and take these events. And at that stage, then we will go and pick who we want our booking agent to be, right? The booking agent's going to look at us and they're going to look for some sort of credibility. And if right out of the gate we can show, hey, check it out, we have 1 million monthly listeners on Spotify, or maybe it's even 50,000 or 100,000, and look at this song that has popped off and everybody loves it. And I could show you the data on Apple, on Amazon, on Spotify, wherever we
Social
have.
media.
Yeah. Like here's how many times people are using the sounds on social media. So we've taken an approach where we actually stopped using social media and we first used Spotify and treated that as its own social media. Got that to hit, get these revenue streams, these leveraging things, and then circling back to social media. So and then we would grow social media to get that next piece of leverage. So we've been playing with that game. So I can tell you, like, when we're ready to get a booking agent for Anthem Worship, like, it's going to be so much easier, right, for us to walk in and say, hey, look at these platforms, look at the streams that we've been doing the last few years. People want us. So if I were you, I would be thinking like, man, how do I get my numbers up on Spotify?
I was just going to say the reason why we do that is because the booking agency is going to take all of that information and pass it along to promoters.
Well, and let me say that too, because there was a season where, again, me getting to work at this booking agency, all I did was emails and reach outs and setting up relationships and trying to leverage things for artists. So I saw firsthand of like, how does an artist get leverage to at least get somebody to care about them or pay attention to them? And Joey, that was back in the day when we got really serious then about the Mass Anthem EPK. And we can talk about EPKs, guys.
Yeah.
And like taking all this leverage that you create and putting it into a document that makes
Mhm.
sense, that somebody can read and see, and then say, oh, this artist is worth it. So like at that time, that that Only Human album, Joey, where we had
Mhm.
2 songs just land mainstream playlists and shot Mass Anthem up to like 700,000 monthly listeners, like that on
Nice.
Spotify. I was always leveraging the crap out of those things because in the emails, that was the only focus. I'm like, if they go look at Instagram, the numbers aren't there. If they
Mhm.
go over here, the numbers aren't there. But if I can get their attention over to Spotify and be like, hey, look at this, look what they're doing, give them a shot. But the other thing to follow up with that is we then realized we had to start putting like performance type content in the EPK.
Mm.
So EPK,
Yeah.
do you know what that is? Should we quick talk about that?
No, I was going to say, well, I wanted to finish the promoter thing, but I think we might be on our way to figuring out our next course of like the
Yeah.
package that indie artists need if they want to just figure out the touring game. And like, because there is a language, there's like, it's kind of like a dance. And JC, you've worked for a booking agency. There's the promoter, and then there's the manager and the booking agency. And they're all kind of like, they're all the ones that are, communicating together. Also, road managing is another separate role, part of touring. But for example, I just wanted to finish the promoting thing. So, for example, we have a promoter that we've met him when he wanted to launch his first thing. Is in the middle of, I think, New Hampshire. I think it was like New Ipswich. I think it's Hills Alive was an outdoor festival up there.
Wow, nice.
And so he's the promoter, and he really wanted to do this thing, start his own festival. And we were like one of the first years. Um, and basically his job was, okay, I need to figure out how much I'm going to be paying all of these bands to come out to my festival. And the game that I'm playing is, can I sell the tickets, get enough sponsors, and make a profit from it? So the
Yep.
promoters are like, they can be either isolated to a specific venue or like a set of venues or whatever if they handle the tour or whatever. But they're the ones that are figuring out, all right, am I going to make a profit off of ticket sales and things like that? And the booking agency is like pitching the artists to these promoters to put the artists on the bill for them, for the promoter to take a shot on the tour. Does that make sense? So it's easier for them to say, here's our packet of all of our numbers. We believe, like, please book our artist. Did I miss anything, Jason?
No, that's correct. It's funny, guys, because that's actually where I started in music, was promotion, being a concert promoter, and I ended up working with GOA, the company I ended up being hired by. I worked with them in high school or in college to book out one of their tours to then go be the promoter for a church and try to get the thing to be profitable. So it's cool to now be able to say, like, I've gotten to see every perspective of it, because each one, like, it's a song and a dance. It's like a little dance between everybody. The promoters, unless it's a situation where it's a non-for-profit and they don't care about losing money, they want to do this thing as a ministry, but typically they want to break even. So because of that, they have a budget. So they're going to go to the booking agent, whoever they use, and they're trying to get somebody reputable enough that can bring in numbers, right? Because they need to be able to put out some radio ads on Caleb and all this stuff and do their marketing that has enough meaning. So, like, the tour that I brought in was Josh Wilson, Jason Gray, and JJ Heller. And those names carried enough weight that then I was able to go to the radio company and we could set up these things and blast everybody with these ads. Ended up getting about 1,000 people to show up for the event, and it made money. But that tour had big names on it. So, like, me as a promoter, I wasn't shopping around for, like, who's the indie artist that I want to sneak into to open. We didn't have an opener. We didn't even talk about that or think about that. Like, that wasn't even on my mind. On my mind was like, how do I get this tour at this number, and then how the heck do we make it break even or be profitable? Because that was my internship. Like, that's all I focused on. So again, it's like, these booking agencies, guys, they know that they need to have artists that have leverage and value so that the promoters want to pay them to get their artists on the tours. So again, it's kind of this leverage game of, like, how do you create value as an artist for the manager to see value in you, to get you connected to a booking agency that sees value in you, to then get you on these tours so that the promoter sees enough value. You see how everybody's trying to sell you? You're the product. So maybe it's a good conversation to just have and say, like, okay, how am I doing as the product right now? What are my pros? What are my cons right now of me as a product with my musicianship, with my band, with whatever?